Police officials in Florida are being called out for their overuse of the canine unit and their decision to sick a dog onto an 18-year-old teen who was depressed and hiding in a trash can. So let me give you the details on this. It's specifically about the Northport, Florida Police Department. And their canine unit has been criticized in the past. There have been some investigative reports showing that they have used the canine unit in cases where they shouldn't have used it. They've done excessive force. And Keith Bush is one of the authorities that's being questioned right now. Now, Keith Bush, the leader of their canine unit, responded to a scene, but not before telling a fellow canine handler to come join in on the fun. Okay, so what happened is a mother calls the cops because she finds that her son is suicidal. She found a noose in the garage and she was concerned that he was going to try to hang himself. So she calls the cops to protect and serve, and they did the exact opposite. The cops show up, and almost immediately they decide it's a good idea to sick a dog on this kid who, again, was hiding in a trash can. All right?
No, but let's be clear here, and you're going to read the quotes, and so you'll get a perfect sense of this. But they didn't decide to do that immediately when they showed up. They decided to do that before they showed up.
Yes, thank you for that distinction. And I'm going to read you the text that they sent to one another that shows you how premeditated this was. Now, on this day, before he or any other officer reached Jared LeMay, that's the victim, Jared LeMay's home, Bush sent a message to fellow canine handler Michael Dietz, "Come get your bite." Okay. These are text messages that were obtained by the Sarasota Herald Tribune. They did an 18-month investigation into this police department and what they've been doing with their canine unit. And the details that they found are shocking, to say the least.
A great, great piece of journalism. They should get enormous credit for what they've done here. And by the way, he says, "Come get your bite." And then he sends another message saying, "I'm going to take your bite if you don't hurry up." So there's a police department that uses these canine units, as Anna pointed out, more often than not only than normal, but more than neighboring municipalities, Sarasota, Bradenton, Palmetto, Venice, Punta Gorda, combined between 2010 and 2014. So this is what they do, and they're messaging each other before they go, and they know it's a call about helping a kid who's thinking about committing suicide. They're like, "Come, let's sick our dogs on him, make sure they take chunks of his, skin and meat off him." That they want to maul this kid who's thinking of committing suicide. Does it get any sicker than that?
So LeMay, who was found unarmed and hiding in a trash can in his garage, was bitten in the face and back by Dietz's dog. We're about to show you a picture that is graphic, but it shows you some of the injuries that the victim had on his face. Again, this is an 18-year-old who was suicidal and depressed, okay, and was unarmed as well.
So you're going to get details on how much damage was done according to the cops in a second. So the guy who was saying, "Come get your bite," to the other officer, Dietz, apparently Dietz actually did show up and did get his bite.
Yes.
They knocked the garbage can over and sicked the dog on him right away. No attempt to detain him, no attempt to help him, which is, look, this is how many stories are we going to have where family members call the cops to help them, and the cops think, "Oh, great, we're going to come either murder your kids, we're going to maul your kids, we're going to laugh behind your back as we have our dogs rip your kid's face apart." So go ahead, Anna, read them the details.
All right, so after he was taken to the emergency room, another cop, William Carter, messaged Dietz, "Congrats," commending him for his dog's first bite. "Your bite or Dietz's?" McHale inquired. "I let Dietz have it," Bush replied. "Nice. How bad?" McHale asked. "Bad," Bush wrote. "Face and back." "Skin graft bad?" McHale asked. "No," Bush wrote. So they're like bragging about how bad the injuries are, but thankfully it wasn't that bad. And then another person said, McHale said, "Could have been worse then. He should have complied."
No. So let's be very, very, very clear about this. That at the end there is a joke, like he should have complied. They're having a laugh over it, right? Because they know that the message was sent before they ever went to go see the kid, and they knew they were going to rip the kid apart before they ever went in. So there's no attempt to get him to comply. The kid's hiding in a trash can because he's suicidal. And these monsters don't think, "Oh my God," they don't think that's a fellow human being. That's an 18-year-old. Can I help him? They think, "Oh, I'm going to get my dogs to rip him apart." You know who thinks like that? Nazis think like that. So first of all, there is absolutely no question fired. Are you kidding me? They have to be arrested. If they're not arrested, that means we've given up as a country on our democracy. That the cops are above the law. They can do whatever they want. You call the cops. They're not here to help you. They're here to rip you apart. They're here to rip your kid's face apart and brag about it. You got to understand something. They sent the messages before they arrived, knowing the kid's suicidal. That's premeditated. That's a crime. There's no question it's a crime. It's premeditated assault and a vicious assault on a poor kid. That's number one. Number two, even if the person was a criminal, which in this case they're not, right?
Well, okay, so he's not a violent criminal by any means. He was wanted for violating his probation, and he was on probation because of an unarmed burglary that he did in the past, okay?
But that's not what the call was about.
That's not what the call was
about.
The
call is, help my son. I'm worried he's suicidal. Please come help. Even if he was a criminal, even if he was in the middle of the burglary, you can't decide ahead of time whether he's a danger or not. I'm not going to try to arrest him. I'm going to have my dogs rip him apart, okay? Mm-hmm. In this case, he's not a criminal in this context. He's asking for help. And when you get called in to help someone and you decide to do this to them instead, you're a sick, deranged person. Who wouldn't they do this to?
Yeah. I mean, one of the police officials was arrested a few years later for domestic abuse. He pleaded no contest to it. He hit his wife, okay? I feel like this is a common theme that you see among police officials who use excessive force, right? It's not like, oh my God, it was the heat of the moment. They didn't know what to do. They panicked and they used excessive force. It wasn't like they are always facing an imminent threat and they're just trying to protect themselves. In this case, they weren't looking to protect themselves. They were looking to be entertained by using a dog and sicking him on a depressed kid who was hiding in a trash can. Their defense was that the garage was dark and they couldn't turn the light on, that the light wasn't working. Not buying that for a second. And again, it was premeditated. We already have the text showing what they intended to do. It wasn't about a light not being able to work or whatever.
So the newspaper, after they do this investigation, 2 years after the attack, they show it to the police, and the cops go, oh yeah, that's a shame. Okay, we'll discipline him. And they give him the lightest form of discipline they can give, memorandum of counseling. But they say that, yeah, okay, it was a little unprofessional, but, quote, the attack on LeMay was found to be within policy. If this is your policy, well then the commanders, the people who wrote this report for Northport PD, they should also be arrested. I'm not talking about fired. Everybody should be fired. Everyone involved in this. Everyone who sent the text, everyone who sent the congratulations, everyone who wanted that kid ripped apart, every commander who authorized it and clearly authorizes it over and over again, they should all be fired. Mm-hmm. That's not even close to a question mark. Mm-hmm. I think they should all be arrested. I mean, what is I think? Of course they should be arrested. Imagine if anyone else says, oh, I got this vicious dog. I'm going to send him to your house and rip apart your 18-year-old. And then I'm going to brag about how he took chunks of your 18-year-old's face off and his back off. And then another guy goes, yeah, that's great. That's perfect. That's what I wanted him to do. It was within policy.
Yeah.
If that's the policy of the police department, then your police department are monsters. What are you going to do about it? It's not like they're attacking the other. I know sometimes right-wingers feel like, oh, well, if they're attacking people that don't look like me, go get them, right? Jared LeMay, I mean, he could be anybody's kid. Yep. I mean, I don't know if that doesn't get you, because we show black victims sometimes and people feel like
they don't care. They don't care. Let's keep it real. You show a black victim, the first thing that happens is, what kind of criminal is he and what did he do to deserve it? That's the first thing that happens, okay? But I mean, here's the thing. We're all potential victims of this type of behavior. It doesn't matter if you're black. It doesn't matter if you're white. If you're a minority, you're more likely to be a victim of this. But we've done story after story after story of young white individuals being attacked by the cops just the same way that they're being attacked by these, same way that they're attacking minorities. And here's the thing. We often have these conversations and these debates and disputes about whether or not cops are good or bad. Like, oh, they're not all bad. They're, some of them are good. A lot of them are good. No. Every police official in this police department is bad. Every single one of them, especially the ones that gave a pass to this ridiculous and egregious case of police brutality. Every single one of them is bad. The ones that are not standing up and forcing these guys to either quit or get fired, you're bad. You're bad. You know what's going on in your police department. There are reports to prove it.
You're not bad, you're a criminal. So if anyone purposely assaults someone and rips their face off, you get arrested. It's not an open question. So it's not, unfortunately, with so many cop stories like this in the news now, it's not a matter of a few bad apples. It's a matter of a few good apples. There are some good apples who are cops, but when police departments in mass sanction this kind of criminal behavior, well, we don't have to worry about the criminals as much as we have to worry about the cops. Because I get it, criminals are going to want to rob you, do all these things, but they don't have badges. They don't have power over you. They don't get to do it as part of official government policy. And right-wingers, if you were worried about an abuse of government that would take your rights away, here it is. What are you going to do about it?